All right, welcome back to the channel. So Dillian Whyte knocks out Alexander Povetkin in 4 rounds, and Eddie Hearn turns around, par for the course, and lies on Deontay Wilder, demands that the WBC make Dillian Whyte the mandatory. Let's talk about this nonsense. Good fight from Dillian Whyte, good card, but still nonsense. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. So, Dillian Whyte takes a rematch against Alexander Povetkin and dominates the fight with Alexander Povetkin the whole way through, knocks him out in the 4th round, and now is back with a belt. I think he has the WBC diamond belt now. And so, seemingly, is back on track, towards being a heavyweight champion. The fight itself, it looked like Dillian Whyte was, had a better game plan for the fight, without a doubt. He controlled the fight with his jab, pretty much could not miss Alexander Povetkin with his jab. He definitely was ripping Alexander Povetkin to the body with a lot of, on the inside, a lot of very heavy right hooks to the body, left hooks to the body. And Alexander Povetkin looked like he was just pretty much breaking down from the beginning of the fight. The commentators said looked like his legs weren't there from the beginning of the fight. I can't speak for that other than to say he was definitely kind of tripping over Dillian Whyte's feet and looked like he didn't really have his balance. But, all in all, dude, Dillian Whyte was just too good for Alexander Povetkin. Now, I don't really know what that means because, dude, Alexander Povetkin is an old man. You know what I mean? Alexander Povetkin got the knockout over Dillian Whyte last time in a fight that Dillian Whyte should have won this way in his last fight. This particular fight, Dillian Whyte did not really get his chin tested, so he did not have that problem. He looked very, very solid in the win. Definitely looked like he's a higher caliber fighter than Alexander Povetkin is. But again, Alexander Povetkin is an older fighter. He first fought for his championship and was in his prime at least 10 years ago when he fought, and probably over 10 years ago when he fought Vladimir Klitschko for the title the first time. However, like I said, Dillian Whyte looked, he looked solid, man. He really did look solid during that fight. Now, after the fight, some things were said, and he was asked exactly what Dillian Whyte what he wanted to do, and I expected that Dillian Whyte would go into the usual Dillian Whyte thing and say, hey, I want to become, I want Tyson Fury or Anthony Joshua or Deontay Wilder, right? So I was sitting there listening to the interview, waiting for Dillian Whyte to say that. Dillian Whyte didn't take that stance. Dillian Whyte said, hey, I wouldn't mind having another fight with Alexander Povetkin, and because, hey, he won the first one by knockout, I won the second one by knockout, and hey, we can do this again in short order so that we can kind of settle up the score. When Dillian Whyte said that, I was like, okay, that's very, very sensible, man. I got a lot of respect for that. He did lose his last fight to Alexander Povetkin. Alexander Povetkin, I'm sure, he talked about coming into this fight that, that he had COVID. So, maybe he didn't feel like, he was all the way fresh and back. And if that's what Alexander Povetkin says, or that's what his belief is at the end of the fight, hey, Dillian Whyte offering him to have another rematch, I would be 100% in favor of it. I thought that was a very entertaining fight. Even though, Dillian Whyte dominated the fight, there were plenty of moments in it where you're like, whoa, man, if Alexander Povetkin would have landed this, or if Alexander Povetkin would have landed that, you never know, what could have happened, whether he could have lightened, lit up Dillian Whyte, got him buzzed, and got him out of there, right? So the idea of there being a third fight between the two of them, I'm okay with it because I don't really know where exactly Dillian Whyte is going to go other than that. But then, and see, I was like waiting for it, right? Eddie Hearn, because Dillian Whyte would not answer that question, the person, I think it was a Sky Sports that were doing the interview. I'm pretty sure it was Sky and not DAZN. But the Sky Sports on-air personality switched the question over to Eddie Hearn and said, what would you like to see? What would you like to see Dillian Whyte do after this? So The end of it was that he wants Dillian Whyte to maybe have another couple tune-up fights, or he can come travel over to the States, have a fight there, because he knows that there's a real log jam at the top of the division, right? So Eddie Hearn was non-committal, obviously, about getting him a fight with Tyson Fury, getting him a fight with Anthony Joshua, or getting him a fight with Deontay Wilder. But here's when Eddie Hearn just became Eddie Hearn again and just flat out told a story. He said when the Sky Sports person asked him, not Dillian Whyte, but asked him specifically about Deontay Wilder, Eddie Hearn said this: well, you know how we were really chasing for a long time trying to get Deontay Wilder, for the WBC title with Dillian Whyte. But now, hey, Tyson Fury got knocked out, and there was a point in time when Deontay texted Dillian Whyte and said, hey, I'm never going to fight you, right? Now, I remember the history behind that. Dude, that stuff was all connected to Anthony Joshua and the fact that the Deontay Wilder was looking for an Anthony Joshua fight and not looking for a Dillian Whyte fight, right? And the fact that Dillian Whyte had turned down 2 opportunities to get set up for a Deontay Wilder fight by either fighting Luis Ortiz or fighting Dominic Breazeale. But, that was a little too much history to be shared in that moment. But this is the story that Eddie Hearn said. Eddie Hearn said, well, before we were chasing Deontay Wilder, but now Deontay Wilder is chasing a fight with Dillian Whyte. So we don't really know if we're going to try to have a fight with Deontay Wilder now, because, really Deontay Wilder is the one chasing us, and we're not, we don't know if we're interested. Dude, what a joke. Right there is like one of the major problems in boxing. First of all, Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua are not about to fight, okay? And the commentators, I listened to the entire card on Sky Sports. It's shown through the Zone. And the commentary the whole time was like absolutely ignored that there was there is an arbitration and mediation case with Deontay Wilder. It is just amazing how uniform boxing media is in ignoring the fact that Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua right now is a pipe dream, because Deontay Wilder has a legitimate issue with Tyson Fury and in a rematch clause that Tyson Fury agreed to. But for Eddie Hearn to turn around and say, oh, well, the reason why we might not be pursuing a Dillian Whyte Deontay Wilder fight is because Deontay Wilder is chasing us. When has Deontay Wilder said at all that he wanted to fight with Dillian Whyte? Since the time that he had that last fight with Tyson Fury. I would love to know where this is, on what media platform, what interview it was that Deontay Wilder said, oh, please give me the Dillian Whyte fight. The Dillian Whyte fight is what I really want. I could have sworn that Deontay Wilder said he wants to fight with Tyson Fury and has Tyson Fury in court trying to push for it. So, with this particular card, take the good with the bad. For the most part, the card was very, very good. I enjoyed it. There was very, very good fights on it. The fight between Ted Cheeseman, and I can't remember the name of the guy that Ted Cheeseman fought for a domestic level UK fight belt at 154. That was absolutely tremendous and fun fight. So was the Fabio Warbley versus Eric Molina. That was a good fight while it lasted. Very entertaining. Looked like Fabio Warbley was in trouble. Winds up coming up off the ropes, knocking out John Molina. And then the Dillian Whyte fight was very exciting from the beginning to the end. So all in all, I really enjoyed the card. The only problem was the story that Eddie Hearn told to justify the fact that Dillian Whyte is not about to fight Deontay Wilder next. Anyway, it is what it is. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.